Now is the time to lock in on the 2025 rookie class. No better way to get ahead of your league mates than a 4-round super flex, no tight end premium PPR rookie mock draft. I've got 48 picks to get into, but before I do that, want to encourage folks, drop a comment, let me know who I'm too high on, who I'm too low on, who I have snubbed through this mock draft. I legitimately use that feedback in future mock drafts. And if this video helps you understand the 2025 class at all, learn even one new thing, do me a huge favor and give the video a like. No time to waste, so let's jump right into it with the 101 here. No surprise, in most leagues, even in the Superflex format, it will be running back Ashton Jeanty from Boise State that comes off the board first. It's not every year you're going to have a near consensus running back as the first selection, but Ashton Jeanty is a powerful runner. He's got great lower body strength. He's explosive. He bursts off the line of scrimmage. He's a high motor runner that flips a second gear with good bursts through the midfield. He accelerates well downfield. He's a good extension of the passing game. I expect him to get first-round draft capital, go right there in the middle of the first round. And folks, as we go through these mock draft slides, you're going to see value comps for these rookies. And when I say value comp, the great thing about the Rookie Big Board rankings is it ranks everybody from a freshman in college through every relevant dynasty player in the NFL. So when you see Breece Hall for Ashton Jeanty, that means they have the same ranking in my overall Rookie Big Board rankings here. That's going to put Ashton Jeanty right there at running back 5 in dynasty purposes. So I think he's going to come in and make an immediate impact as a running back 1. Really nice pick to have there with that first selection. But if you took wide receiver Tet McMillan out of Arizona with your first pick, I wouldn't blame you at all. I think he's more likely to go 102, so that's why he comes off the board second here. But I am a huge fan of McMillan, and I'm going to have a ton of exposure to him. He is an impressive boundary threat. He feels the boundary well. He accelerates downfield. He wins in contested catch situations, but he doesn't just rely on his large 6'5", 210-pound frame to win. He's got excellent ball tracking. He attacks the ball. He wins at the catch point. And for his size, he is speedy. He's a quick mover. He can move well laterally. I wouldn't call him the most refined route runner, but he works the whole tree well. He can cut a slant. He can work a nice out route. I like his curl route. He decelerates well. He sells those curl routes very well. It helps him win and create space along the boundary. I expect McMillan to come in, immediately project 80 to 100 targets in an NFL offense, 7 to 9 touchdowns as a rookie. It's going to be a really solid projection here. I'm not expecting Malik Neighbors, right? But Brian Thomas Jr., that's a good in terms of realistic production projection for Tatoria McMillan. And if you could get the wide receiver 6 or 8, depending on your format there with the 102, that's a really nice spot to be in on a roster that probably needs a key, solid, reliable wide receiver. Folks, as we go through this episode, you're going to hear me refer a lot to the Rookie Big Board rankings. Those are my rankings. I have watched 68 prospects at the time of recording. If you want to see the full rankings and full profiles, every single player I've watched, all 68 of them and counting, all have full rookie profiles on the website designed just for Rookie Big Board patrons. I also have a personalized Discord for personalized advice, trade, roster, rookie selection. You also have the ability to do one-on-one draft consultation calls. Really awesome stuff to prepare you to win your rookie drafts, available at patreon.com/rookiebigboard for just $5 a month. The link to join will be in the episode description. But let's go ahead. Let's get to the 103 here and take the first quarterback off the board, and that is Cam Ward out of Miami. Taking Cam Ward with your 103 might not be as exciting as taking Caleb Williams with your 101, taking Trevor Lawrence in earlier years. He's not this consensus locked-in guy, but there is a whole lot to like about Cam Ward, and I am definitely a fan. I'm definitely going to have good exposure to the Miami Hurricanes quarterback. He's got a huge arm. The arm talent is absolutely evident when it comes to Cam Ward. He's able to push the ball in the deep field, but good velocity. He adjusts well. So he's got the ability to put good touch on his ball as well. He's got dual threat mobility Ward isn't a pure athletic rusher like a Kyler Murray or a Lamar Jackson, but he is an effective scrambler. He's a guy who can legitimately rush for 300 yards, 4, 5, 6 rushing touchdowns in a season at the next level. That's enough to be a consistent quarterback one. What I love about Cam Ward, he started at Incarnate Word, FCS, transfers to Washington State. He's playing a lot of hucket-chucket football, backyard style, a lot of improvising. He gets into the Miami Hurricanes pro-style offense. His mechanics settle down. He improves dramatically. He's got great pocket presence. This is a guy who has consistently adjusted to higher levels of competition in different schemes and has been productive, outstanding, and has raised the tide of the overall offense around him at every stop. He very well could be the first pick in the 2025 NFL draft. There's a lot to like here about Cam Ward. And now that opens things up here, a bit of a tier break. But when we get into 104, I'm still in on Luther Burden, wide receiver out of Mizzou. Folks have kind of fallen off on Luther Burden. It's a little bit of a sleepy pick because he's been good for so long, but I still really like the tape. He's a versatile inside-out receiver. He's got very reliable hands. I love his first step. He releases well off the line of scrimmage. He separates consistently. I love Burden's ability to win over the middle of the field. He can work the seam, but he works a good drag route as well. He holds on to the ball through contact. He's got a good slant, good corner. I like his ability to win at all 3 levels of the field, and I think that's going to separate him at the next level. Because he played slot at Mizzou, a lot of folks are kind of downsizing his projection for the NFL level, but not me. I know, and now you do as well, that the slot role is the X role in the Missouri offense, right? So I think it's realistic to put Luther Burden somewhere between 75 and 80 targets as a rookie, depending on landing spot. That could go all the way up to 100. That's excellent volume for a rookie wide receiver to have, and I think Luther Burden absolutely could be there. 105, I'm getting aggressive. I don't care. I take him 104 in a tight end premium. I'm going Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. I'm all in on him, man. I'm a huge fan. He's done nothing but continue to impress, and the secret is absolutely out on Tyler Warren. 6'6", 257. I expect him to be a mid-first round NFL draft selection. I love his hands. He has great contested catchability. He's physical over the middle of the field. He holds on to the ball well through contact. Warren has excellent athleticism and versatility. If you're not familiar with his game, he can put his hand in the dirt, line up there, split in, split out. He lines up in the backfield as a running back. He'll line up as a halfback. He legitimately will take snaps as a quarterback. He played quarterback in high school. He will throw the ball. All right, there was one play this season where Tyler Warren snapped the ball from center. He was eligible. He went downfield, caught the touchdown pass. There's legitimately nothing this man can't do. By the way, he is a reliable blocker. He fires off the snap. He engages well with defensive fronts. He's a powerful blocker. He's able to hold his ground very well. So Tyler Warren, a lot to like about him. I expect an NFL offense to make an early selection on him, invest good draft capital, and get him some legitimate volume. Running back Omarion Hampton out of the University of North Carolina. He is settling into a consensus running back 2 situation here. So I'm going to take him off the board at 106, and Hampton's been my running back 2 for a good chunk of time. Why? He's powerful. He works very well between the tackles. For his size, 6'0", 220, he's light on his feet, and I find Hampton to be very elusive in tight space. I also think he's an underrated pass catcher. Now, his box score isn't overloaded with that. That's not what he was asked to do because he got a ton of volume in between the tackles for the Tar Heels. But when he was targeted through the flat, he adjusts well to off-target passes. He catches the ball he should. And what's important, he catches the ball in stride and is able to turn upfield successfully. A whole lot to like about Omarion Hampton. Before we get into my next pick here, I need to make sure you understand the way that I approach my mock drafts, right? I am trying to give you a realistic idea of where I expect players to be drafted in your actual rookie draft. So I'm not just reading off my rankings. Like I mentioned, those are available over at patreon.com/rookieBigBoard. But I am going to put my own influence on it as well. And I'm going to point out when I have guys much higher or much lower than consensus, you're going to hear me consistently say that. And again, I take your feedback into account. So drop a comment if you feel like I'm misreading the consensus or your approach or what you're seeing out there as you approach rookie draft season. 107 here. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. Now, Travis Hunter, for me, he could go as high as 103, 104 in some leagues. He could go as low as 111, 112. And obviously, the landing spot, more importantly, the designation that he's drafted under is going to be a big thing for Travis Hunter. Know that my approach with Travis Hunter right now is he's primarily going to be drafted to be a defensive back, but he'll be used some on offense. And so for the purposes of his valuation, I'm going with 5 targets. If he sees 5 targets a game, he's probably catching 3 to 4 balls. He's probably getting between 45, 55, maybe 60 yards on average per game, some bigger games with a touchdown, other games without a touchdown. That's going to make it hard for me unless I'm playing in best ball, because I don't think the reliability is going to be there. But he's an excellent athlete. He's explosive. He's got game-changing athleticism. We know that. That's why he won the Heisman Trophy. Sticky hands, great vertical athleticism, extends well for off-target passes. He's a contested catch monster, really nice footwork, is able to separate, obviously understands field angles, understands a good ball skills, reaction skills. Folks, he's going to be a top 10 draft pick. He could be a top 3, top 5 NFL draft pick, right? But in terms of a wide receiver in your lineup, I do think you need to proceed with some realistic caution. If he was just declaring as a wide receiver, we knew he was going to play 100% as wide receiver, he'd be in the conversation for 102, 103. We have to adjust back for a lower volume level than ideal for a fantasy football player. 108 here. Let's get into TreVeyon Henderson. I think we're going to like TreVeyon Henderson a whole lot more post-NFL draft than pre-NFL draft, because I think he's going to be a top 50 selection. He's 5'10", 210, and he does everything NFL teams want a running back to do. He's physical. He attacks every step. Henderson, he's a scrappy runner. He's got great contact balance. I love his contact balance. Good lower body strength to pair with that. Henderson, he's a quick runner. He wins laterally. He's an effective pass blocker, really consistent, well-rounded running back, which isn't always the flashiest, but when you watch as much tape as I do, I've been watching him for 3 years, actually 4 years now with TreVeyon Henderson. You can see that tape profile build up and that consistency over time. 109, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. Another guy that's going to have a ton of variance. Now, for me, I'm not drafting Shedeur Sanders until the mid to late second round. That's where he is currently in the rookie big board rankings. So that's my opinion on here. I think he could go as high as 106, 107 in rookie drafts. If you have a Shedeur Sanders fan, he very likely, it seems, will have the draft capital. I know it's more likely that he has top 10 draft capital, but I'm still projecting him with a little bit lower. I really don't even think he should be a first round NFL draft pick, but I know that's not where the tides are seemingly going. 6'2", 215. What does he do well? Sanders has clean mechanics. He's got solid mechanics. He's got a clean platform. He's got good touch at times. And when he's not pressured, when he has time to sit back, he can work through his reads. He can find the open guy and he can put the ball with pretty good accuracy. Now, when he's under pressure, he panics. He takes unnecessary sacks. He's got really limited arm strength. You have to understand that. This is not somebody who's going to be able to push the ball downfield at the next level. So you're going to need somebody who is a high processor and has a really good accuracy under pressure at the NFL level to be able to offset that generally from a fantasy football perspective. I don't think Sanders presents that. The other big challenge from a fantasy football specific perspective here, you need to understand, folks, if you haven't watched the tape, he is not a high rushing upside guy. He can scramble, he can move, he can extend the pocket, but he's not somebody who's going to get you 400 or 500 rushing yards a season. He's somebody who's probably going to get you 1 to 150 rushing yards a season. And if he gets some red zone opportunities, maybe he gets 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns. But when you don't have that fantasy football rushing ability, you have to have major arm talent to offset that. And I just don't see it. So that's why he's a second round pick for me. But let's get back to the positive here. 110 wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. He's bumping up from previous mock drafts, and I'm a big fan of Emeka Egbuka. He's a high floor type guy. If you're chasing floor, if that's what you're looking for, that's totally a fine approach to it. Emeka Egbuka is going to be your guy. He's got smooth speed. He navigates the field well. He can win before and after the catch. He's got a sharp release. I like his body positioning. He knows how to win over the middle of the field. Defensive backs do not jump routes on Emeka Egbuka, and he's got really reliable hands. If the ball's on target, he's catching that ball. 6'1", 206, that's good size. checking a lot of boxes here. He's going to check the draft capital box. I think he's going to go the end of the first round. That's going to be pretty enticing as well. I don't think we get out of the first round of rookie mock drafts, or real rookie drafts, I should say, without Emeka Egbuka coming off the board. Next up here is Quinshot Judkins. I have Judkins ranked a little bit lower than this, but I understand, because if you're chasing floor with Emeka Egbuka, you're chasing upside here with his teammate, running back Quinshot Judkins out of Ohio State. 5'11", 210, good size. He's a high motor runner. Absolutely. He's got good contact balance. Judkins has quick feet, good lateral bursts. He's got sharp footwork. He'll explode through gaps. He's a home run hitter. He can accelerate well downfield if he's schemed into space. My hesitation with Quinshot Judkins is I think his vision is unreliable. That's a decent red flag for me, but nonetheless, the upside's absolutely there. I think he's going to get day 2 draft capital, so that's a pretty good spot to be. At 112, let's talk about a huge riser here. And I'm going to go with Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas. I'm seeing folks catch on to Matthew Golden. I have him stashed in a ton of Devy leagues. I added him before this season when he transferred to Texas. It was a slow start, and I definitely faded him. I was off him a bit, but now I'm right back in because he had a huge second half of the season leading up to the college football playoff and a really nice run for Texas at the end of the season. Sticky hands, good reaction skills. He plays well over the middle of the field, and he's got some yak upside as well. I like his footwork. He wins off the release. I love a wide receiver who can win off the release, and Golden does a great job to separate downfield. 6'0", 195, good frame. Top 50 draft capital, really seems like that's where he's heading. So I think you're in a really good spot with Matthew Golden. All right, 201, folks, I hear you. I'm listening. Here it is, Caleb Johnson. I've had him much lower in previous mock drafts. And again, like I said, I listened to the comments. So here I am. I'm putting Caleb Johnson up at 201. Not where I would take him, but to give you a realistic idea of where a rookie draft could go, there are definitely big Caleb Johnson fans out there. What do they like about him? Well, when you watch the Caleb Johnson tape, you're going to see a powerful runner. You're going to see somebody who hits gaps hard. He's decisive. He's a high motor runner. He absorbs contact very well. When you've got big gaps, he's able to work through those gaps. He's got that NFL size there at 6'0", 225. So really nice size there from Caleb Johnson. And of course, he's got that Iowa running back mold to him. Why am I hesitant here? He lacks a second gear. You can see him. He'll get off the line of scrimmage. Like I said, he attacks the hole, and he never really gets going and accelerates. So he doesn't have a big play potential, which is a negative for fantasy football purposes. I don't find him to be elusive. I don't find that Caleb Johnson can create his own space, which means he's very landing spot dependent. He has to be behind a good offensive line, which is absolutely not a guarantee at the next level. And I think his footwork is rounded. I don't think he has sharp cuts, and that's going to slow him down at the next level. So that's why I'm lower on Caleb Johnson. But I do think that, you know, from what I'm hearing, what consensus is, what popular opinion is, he's going to go early second round. 202, I'm going to take Isaiah Bond, the wide receiver out of Texas. And if Matthew Golden has been a late season riser, Isaiah Bond has been a late season faller. He had a great start to the season, but he had some big drops on primetime. That knocked folks down. I think people are going to be back in on him when we get to Indianapolis because he's wicked fast. He's going to run in the 4.3s. People are going to fall in love with him. But he's more than just speed. I like his ability to separate at all 3 levels of the field. I think he's a good route runner. He's got good footwork. He decelerates well. He's loose hips for a guy that's as fast as he is. He plays under control very well. And I know we saw some drops late season, but I'm telling you, I don't know if it was mental. Those didn't show up early season, so I'm not totally discounting it, but I left good hands on his notes here because I don't think he has terrible hands. 203, running back Devin Neal, my guy out of Kansas. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it on X. I'm seeing it on Blue Sky. I'm seeing it on YouTube. Folks are catching on to Devin Neal. We're going to keep this train rolling, folks. I have him everywhere already in any league where I can get a Devy guy. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get even more exposure. I expect him to have day 2 draft capital, 5'11", 210. He does everything well. He's a smooth runner. He's got good speed. He's got great vision. He anticipates well. He hits cutback lanes with success. He's got excellent change of direction, anticipates very well second level space. Neal's got good strength, good lower body, good play strength here. He wins in short distance situations, 3rd and short, 4th and short, on the goal line. Devin Neal statistically is so wildly consistent. Go back, flip through his game logs, and look at how many 100-yard games he has over his 4-year career at Kansas. It's absolutely impressive. 204 here. I'm going to go with Colston Loveland. I have Loveland ranked a little bit lower, but in previous mock drafts, I definitely got feedback. And I have seen out there that some folks will even have Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. I'm not quite there yet, but I see the appeal, and you definitely have to keep in mind his 2023 tape as well as his 2024 tape, because that offense absolutely went off the rails this season. Colston has sticky hands. He extends his frame well. He's fluid. He catches the ball in stride and continues upfield well. So for a tight end, he's definitely got some good yak potential. I struggle with Loveland as a blocker. I don't see that play strength that I want to see from him. And so I'm just worried that's going to keep him off the field early on in his career. But we can have a little bit more patience with the tight end position, and definitely that pass catching ability and that athleticism that presents the upside. And I understand chasing that from a fantasy football perspective. 205 here, another big riser is Cam Skattebo, the running back at Arizona State. Momentum is definitely high on Skattebo, and for good reasons. He's got good lateral quickness. I like his vision, especially playing inside. I do think he's best playing in between the tackles. He's explosive off the snap. He has a good burst. Talk about second effort strength. This guy is a gamer. He's tenacious. An NFL team's going to fall in love with that. They're going to take him on day 2. He attacks gaps. He hits the hole hard. This is a guy who can handle a big workload. And for nothing else, he was endearing to a lot of folks in that Texas game. And say what it will, but it does matter. It does. The impression that people have, especially at the end of the season, if they haven't been watching them all year, that sticks in their mind. And a lot of people want to draft guys that they like. And Skattebo at 205, it's absolutely realistic. 206, I think if you can get Trevor Etienne at 206, that's realistic. It's also a great value. I'm a big fan of Trevor Etienne. I think folks are sleeping on him. I have adjusted his projection a little bit lower, day 2 late, just because there's so many other strong running backs in this loaded, deep running back class. 5'9", 205. I love Etienne's ability to fire off the snap. He explodes well into gaps. He's got quick, sharp footwork. I love his ability to win leverage. He's got good power, good contact balance. There's a lot to like here about Trevor Etienne. 207, I'm going to go with Jalen Milroe. I don't know. I honestly, he could go 202. He could go, I don't think he's going to go in the first round. He could slide into the third round. There's a ton of variance with Jalen Milroe. So we're going to kind of just stick a mid to late second round. Draft capital is going to be a big influence here. There's rumor, there's chatter. There's people who think he's going to go round 1. I don't see that. I think he's a day 2 pick. He's a dangerous runner. He's a great athlete. And he does have serious arm strength, but he is raw. He has improved his accuracy. He has improved his decision-making, but he has a while to go. He's going to need to sit, and he's going to need an NFL team that really invests in him. And folks, what you need to understand, the NFL is not a developmental league, right? So you have to really, really trust the coaching staff that he lands in if you're going to use even a mid-second round pick, because there are a ton of guys who I really like that I have ranked above him that I still haven't talked about. And one of those guys is wide receiver Xavier Restrepo out of Miami. Restrepo definitely has his truthers out there, and there's plenty of folks that are going to think this is way too low on Xavier Restrepo, but there's a lot of good guys in front of him. It's a strong class, folks. 5'10", 195. What I like about Restrepo, he wins over the middle of the field. He's physical. He's tough. He holds on through contact. He's got a great drag route. He wins off his first step, so he's got a good slant route. He's able to create space right away. Good footwork, good speed, gets in and through his routes well. And he speeds up quickly. He accelerates well downfield. I think he's going to play slot at the next level. That's no longer, a damning thing for fantasy football purposes. You can still get 75 to 85 targets realistically as a rookie playing out of the slot. You get put in the right offense. Maybe the touchdown upside's a little bit lower, but the volume is absolutely there for Xavier Restrepo. Another guy who I really like, let's take him off the board here at 209. That's going to be Jordan James out of Oregon. Not as much chatter on Jordan James. I think if you said second round Jordan James, a lot of folks would kind of turn their eye on that. But I like him a lot. 5'10", 210. He's a twitchy runner. pops off the tape, man. His twitch ability is fantastic. He's got quick feet. He's got good bursts. He gets off the snap right away, and he bursts through gaps. He gets to that second level of the field. James has sharp cuts. He changes direction very well. Somebody who I'm going to have a ton of exposure to. At 210, I'm going to go with Alec Ayomenor. The wide receiver out of Stanford is definitely a popular sleeper guy right now. I don't think he's going to be a sleeper by the time we get to rookie drafts. He's got good size there at 6'2", 210 coming out of Stanford. He's a clean route runner. I especially like his slant. I love when wide receivers can run a good slant. He works well along the boundary, and that helps him sell the curl route very well. Deceleration, a good footwork there from Alec Ayomenor. He's got sharp footwork. He scoots for his size. I got to tell you, sometimes he plays like a big man. He's able to extend his frame. He's got great ball skills. He's a good contested catch guy. I swear he looks 6'3" or 6'4" half the time at Stanford in the way he's able to go up and get balls. But for his size, he scoots very well. He's got good speed. So a really nice combination of size and speed for a guy that you can draft in the late second round. 211, Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. Despite the fact that I am a Vols fan, I'm actually a little bit lower, but I consistently hear folks get excited about Dylan Sampson, so I put him in the back end of the second round here. Fires off the snap, explosive runner. I think Sampson has quick feet. He's got sharp cuts between the tackles. He's got good play strength, and he's got a lot of good yards after contact. I think that is endearing. That's something folks get excited about, which is one of the reasons, like I mentioned, you're hearing his name consistently go in the second round of rookie drafts. And one guy here to finish up the second round, one guy who I'm a huge fan of. I got to tell you, it's one of the reasons I mentioned I've watched 68 guys and counting. You might say, Matt, that's absolutely ridiculous. Why do you watch that deep? Because Jalen Noel, the wide receiver out of Iowa State, was the 60th guy I watched. And now he's one of the guys that I need to get huge exposure to, right? When you dig this deep, folks, that's how you find the Puka Nakuas, the Tyrone Tracy's, the types of guys that I have loaded up on and helped rookie big board patrons load up on the last couple of years. That's how you win your league. And I'm not saying that Jalen Noel will be Puka Nacua, but I'm just saying I don't think you can even get him. I think you'll get him in the third round. This is me pushing him up the rankings. I'm a huge fan of him, and I think his skill set translates well to the next level. He's got sticky hands. He's got good ball skills, reacts well to balls thrown behind him, reacts well to balls thrown low. I love Noel's release. He wins consistently. He shakes defensive backs. He keeps them on their back feet. He wins with physical hands as well. So if you press him, he's going to be able to get that separation right off the bat. I love Noel's ability to win over the middle of the field. He wins in traffic. He's got good short area quickness. He wins before the catch. He wins after the catch, and he's versatile. He's a guy, scheme versatility is an overused term, but you can play him inside. You can play him outside. He could be a flanker. You could put him in the slot. I think Jalen Noel is going to be able to move all around the field. He's going to be a bit of a mismatch at the next level, and I think that's going to lead to some really nice fantasy football value. On to the third round. Here we go, digging deep. Trey Harris, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Now, Trey Harris, I feel like his steam has cooled a little bit. There's a lot of upside here with Harris. He's got reliable hands. He adjusts well to off-target passes. He navigates the entire field well. Good vertical ability, sharp footwork. He's a fine route runner. I think when you watch Trey Harris tape, you see a lot of good. You don't see too much great. He looks kind of unrefined. Part of that is the scheme, what he was asked to do in the Ole Miss offense. So I understand if you want to take Trey Harris, he's a little bit lower for me. I would much rather take the guy at 302 out of Utah State, and that's wide receiver Jalen Royals. I am a huge fan of Jalen Royals after watching his tape. He's got a great first step. He wins the release consistently. I don't know if I have looked at many guys with a better first step in this class than Jalen Royals. He's a quick mover. He accelerates well downfield. He wins over the middle of the field. He is physical. Jalen Royals, 6'0", 205, not the biggest guy, but he's not getting pushed off his routes. And I know what you're thinking. Who's pushing a guy off his routes in the Mountain West? But I got some Boise tape in there, all right? So I've been able to see him play against a college football playoff team, and he had a huge game against Boise. Consistent hands, wins before the catch, wins after the catch. He's a boundary threat at Utah State, but they're going to move him inside. He could be a really nice flanker option at the NFL level with an X guy pulling top coverage. Royals can really just absolutely clean up underneath. and over the middle of the field. 303, I bet it's about time. I got to do it. Got to take him. Quinn Ewers, quarterback out of Texas. I wish he had gone back. I wish he had hit the transfer portal, gotten another year of development, kind of really fell off the rails at the end of this season. But I understand. I think he's going to go day too late because there's definitely enough for an NFL team to convince themselves that he can be a difference maker and a starter at the next level. What you need to know about Ewers right off the bat, this man is a gunslinger. There is not a throw that Quinn Ewers does not believe that he cannot make. He's got that mentality. And folks, he does have the arm strength and the arm talent to back that mentality up. Overall, you will see for the most part, Ewers is calm under pressure. He's not phased when the blitz is coming at him. You know, he stands tall in the pocket. He's got good pocket presence. Where does he struggle? He struggles with accuracy. You saw that really improve from 2022 to 2023, but a huge drop off in 2024. You may hear that excused away with an injury. I don't know that he was ever 100% healthy, but you can only excuse that away so far. The decision making was so poor. I mean, he was absolutely rattled by the end of last season, consistently forcing the ball into tight coverage, consistently throwing the ball into double coverage, not protecting the ball at all. That's where that gunslinger mentality backfires on you. And that, for me, that's going to push him into the third round. That's the right risk point to take him. 304, wide receiver Savion Williams out of TCU. I understand the upside. I understand the excitement. There's folks that are going to want to take Savion Williams in the second round because he's got that big frame, 6'5", 225, and he's wicked athletic within that frame. He speeds up quickly. He's got good burst. He's versatile. You'll see TCU gives him the end arounds, gives him the jet sweeps, gives him the direct snaps, gives him the handoffs. They're getting the ball to him in the flat a ton of manufactured production, and that's a huge red flag for me. I do not want manufactured production because NFL teams, I don't care how good you are, they're not going to feed you the ball and force you into their game plan at the next level. We've seen this consistently. Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney, Malachi Corley. The great thing about the rookie big board is it's just as important to know who to fade. We've nailed the fades over the last couple of years. All those guys I just mentioned were big fades because of manufactured production. Treylon Burks, Savion Williams is going to fit into that mold here. 305, somebody who I do like better, and that's going to be wide receiver Tez Johnson out of Oregon. Now, the frame is what's holding Tez Johnson back. 5'10", 165, but the skill set is absolutely there. He's speedy. He's quick moving east to west. He catches the ball in stride. He's an effective yak threat, so he wins before the catch. He wins after the catch. He's got good ball tracking ability, really sticky hands. Now, Tez Johnson, if you look at 2024 Oregon tape, he's got a bit of manufactured production as well, which worries me. You could explain that away a bit with scheme, but go back to 2023 and you're going to see a whole lot less manufactured production. That's what's going to make me feel a little bit better about his manufactured production relative to Savion Williams, but it still explains why I'm taking him in the mid-third round. That's an appropriate risk point. And speaking of appropriate risk points, let's talk about Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss at 306. I have gotten a ton of questions in the Rookie Big Board Discord about Jackson Dart, and I understand why, because when you watch his tape, when you look at his stats, you do see somebody who you can really talk yourself into, right? He's a great improviser. He wins well off script. Dart, he's a mobile passer. He scrambles well, so he's got that rushing ability that gives him fantasy football upside. But here's the challenge. He is raw. Despite the fact that he has played for 3 years as a starting quarterback, Lane Kiffin does not care. He does not care about your ability to project at the next level. He does not build his scheme. He does not develop his quarterbacks to be NFL quarterbacks. He develops them to be winning college quarterbacks, and he's done a good job of that. So Jackson Dart heading to the NFL, his mechanics are still wonky. He needs time to settle those down. He has poor processing ability. He rarely works past his first read. He freezes. He'll take sacks when that first read's not there. He'll force the ball into his first read, his pre-snap read, and his decision-making ability is not there. He'll chuck the ball up from one-on-one situations. He'll force it. He doesn't throw it out of bounds. He doesn't check it down. Jackson Dart's not somebody who I can trust to be the leader of my NFL offense, to manage that offense without putting the ball in jeopardy, potentially turning the ball over. And that's just not something that an NFL coach is going to be comfortable with. So I think he's going to be a day 3 selection in terms of the NFL draft. Somebody else who's going to go day 3, who I'm much more excited about, I'm going to have a good amount of exposure, and that's RJ Harvey, the running back out of UCF, one of my top sleepers in this class, 5'9", 208. He's a patient runner. He anticipates space very well. He's also able to create his own space with good footwork, with elusiveness. I love Harvey's ability to hit cutback lanes and anticipate space with success. That is a huge green flag for me and something I love to see for my running back prospects. He's got start-stop explosive ability, checks another big box for me, and he accelerates very well downfield. RJ Harvey, one of these guys, he's not going to step in to immediate lead back volume, but I think he could be drafted to be the second running back on a NFL roster, and it only takes one injury for you to be the lead back. And if you have the right skill set, your fantasy football value can skyrocket. And I got to tell you, folks, RJ Harvey absolutely has the right skill set. 308, let's talk about tight end Gunnar Helm out of Texas here. I like Gunnar Helm a ton. He's a fluid mover. He's got some good shake for the fact that he's 6'5", 250. He's got reliable hands. I think Helm has good ball tracking ability. He's also a super reliable blocker. So he seals the edge very well in run blocking. He's got a good anchor in pass blocking. So he's going to get on the field right away. I expect him to be an NFL starter week 1 this season, which means that he's going to have the potential to get targets. Might not be an immediate breakout guy, but he's also a really strong red zone threat, and that's going to carry fantasy football value on its own. Next up, let's go back to the running back position. Another guy who I like as a sleeper, 3rd round, maybe even early 4th round type guy, and that is Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers, 5'9", 209. Monangai is a shifty runner. He's got sharp footwork. He's elusive. He creates his own space. He's got good lower body strength, and Monangai has excellent contact balance as well. Similar to RJ Harvey, don't expect him to be drafted into a lead back role, but if he gets his opportunity, I think he's absolutely going to take advantage of it. 310, tight end Mason Taylor out of LSU. Athletic, fluid mover here. He's got good, reliable hands. He's quick for his size, coming in at 6'5", 255. If you watch, the LSU offense really did run through Mason Taylor. When they needed a guy to get the ball, it was Taylor that they relied on this season. He seals the edge well. I really like his ability to pull block in particular. So another guy here, he's not going to be a liability in terms of blocking. He could even sneak into a top 50 selection here, but I think he's at least going late day 2. 311, Damian Martinez, the running back out of Miami. This is somebody who I loved coming out of Oregon State. Had a little bit of a disappointing season just because Mario Cristobal did not emphasize him. And Martinez is somebody who is good when he's building up touches over the course of the game. But look at the Pop-Tarts Bowl, folks. You see when he is the lead guy, as soon as Cam Ward was out, they turned to him and he had a huge game, huge performance. I think that really helped his NFL draft stock. And honestly, quite frankly, it gave me more confidence in Damian Martinez as well because I like his tape already. He's a physical runner between the tackles. He's got great contact balance. He's powerful. He's decisive. He's got good vision, so he sees space well. He's able to fit into tight spots, create his own space in between the tackles. And for a guy who's 6'0", 230, I think he's pretty light on his feet, and he's able to make guys miss. 312, another sleeper alert for me. Ty Felton. I liked what I saw out of Ty Felton a ton. The wide receiver out of Maryland. I got to tell you, if Maryland even had average quarterback play, we would be talking so much more about Ty Felton. He's a quick twitch athlete. He's got good speed. He's got great burst. Felton releases very well off the line of scrimmage. Excellent separation. Felton is consistently separating in the short field, in the midfield. He's got reliable hands. I love his ability to win over the middle of the field. He wins in traffic. So Felton, a big sleeper for me. That's the first 36 prospects. And again, folks, if you want in-depth analysis, if you want to see the full rookie profile, if you want for each of these guys that I've talked about and a whole lot more, if you want personalized advice via the Rookie Big Board Discord, get access to my Dynasty, Devy, and of course, rookie rankings, I got to tell you, just $5 a month, there's no better way to get ahead of your league mates over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. And again, the link to join will be in the episode description. All right, for the last round, we're going to move through these ones a little bit quicker here, but definitely some guys that I wanted to make sure are on your radar. Starting at 401 here with running back Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State. it's been a big ebb and flow for Ollie Gordon stock, but there are folks who are still really into him. He's got home run playability. 402 tight end Harold Fannin Jr., athletic, great hands. My only worry with Fannin is that he's in a bit of a tweener mold. So I want to see what he weighs in Mobile in the Senior Bowl. And I want to see how they use him, how NFL teams think that he might fit into their scheme. Another huge sleeper for me. I'm going to take him in the 4th round all day if I get the opportunity, and that's SMU running back Brashad Smith. I love Brashad Smith. He's explosive. He's got great vision, changes direction very well. He's a great extension of the passing game. There's a whole lot to like about Brashad Smith, and I'm going to be taking him in the 4th round a ton. 404 wide receiver Ricky White out of UNLV. I just think Ricky White is just kind of getting lost in the sauce a little bit. I do like him. I think he's a well-rounded wide receiver. I think he's got good hands. I think he's a good route runner. And when you watch his UNLV tape, you see him perform consistently against Power 4 competition. So he does well when he plays tougher competition. So I do like Ricky White as well. I've talked about Woody Marks a ton in the running back preview episode, in previous mock drafts, in my sleeper episodes. I like Woody Marks a ton. Nobody else seems to like him. That's totally fine. Here's your takeaway here, folks. I've been mocking him in the 3rd round. That's fine. I'll take him in the 4th round. Let's get the value. Don't force it. If you can give me Woody Marks in the 4th round, I'll take that all day. And it does seem to be that's where we're heading right now. And with the last pick here, in this grouping at 406, I'm going to take Will Howard out of Ohio State. Now, I was relatively high on Will Howard going into the season. He was a top 4 quarterback for me going into the season. I didn't want to like him as much as I did, and I think over the course of the season at Ohio State, you saw what Will Howard can do. He's got enough arm talent. He's got good mobility. He's accurate. He's got good processing ability. I don't think he's going to step in and be the quarterback one on an NFL roster anytime soon, but he absolutely could develop into a starting quarterback, a type of guy who can manage an NFL offense. And I got to tell you, winning the national championship, not going to hurt his draft stock. 407 here. I know this is a favorite of the viewers and the listeners, and that is wide receiver Jack Bech out of TCU. He has been left off previous mock drafts. I hear you. I've watched the tape. Great hands, good mover over the middle of the field, listed as a tight end in college. He will be a wide receiver, has the Senior Bowl invite, and we broke him down in much more detail if you want to see him on the Senior Bowl episode. Tight end to Rondé Gadsden. A lot of folks saying 408. Matt, what are you doing with a Rondé Gadsden this low? Tweener, folks. It's a tweener mold. I like his pass catching ability. I like his route running ability. I just don't know how to project him with reliable volume in an NFL offense. And that's a problem because if you can't get volume, you can't have fantasy football production. 409 quarterback Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame. I got to tell you, full fade for me, folks. I don't like Riley Leonard's arm talent. I don't think he's accurate enough to win at the next level consistently, but I do know folks are in on Riley Leonard. They're in on him because of his mobility. They see that upside. They're chasing that upside. Okay, fine. Chase upside with your 4th round draft pick. I'm not going to knock you on that, but I do want to reflect reality, and I do think Riley Leonard will be going off the board in your rookie drafts. Wide receiver Jaden Higgins, maybe a little bit low. A lot of Higgins fans out there, and I like his ability to play along the boundary. I like his handwork. I like his route running ability. There's just guys I like a little bit more. And so he fell down here to 410. 411, Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback out of Oregon. If he was 4 inches taller, we'd be talking about him as a top 50 draft pick. And I know he's not. That size is a limitation, but he has excellent processing ability. He has excellent decision making. He doesn't put the ball anywhere near where defenders can get to him. He's wicked accurate. He's got great mechanics. He can extend the play. He can scramble. I'm going to give me some Dillon Gabriel exposure. I really do, because he can do everything very well. And the last guy, the coveted last spot, I always save the final pick for somebody who really excites me. And as a late round, tight end type target, Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. I liked him a ton. I thought he had excellent handwork. He's super fluid. I thought he was a great route runner. He wins after the catch, and he's got really nice speed for the tight end position. So I like Terrence Ferguson. That's why he's going to be the final selection here in this mock draft. 48 picks, 48 rookies broken down for you. Again, if you're watching, drop a comment. Let me know who's I too high on, too low on. Make sure that you have liked the video, because I have to believe you learned at least one new thing watching this whole video. And if you did, give the video a like. And folks, there's no better value. There's no better way to get ahead of your league mates than to head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard. A whole ton more rookie content coming your way very soon. More Senior Bowl breakdowns and rookie profile season is upon you. I'll see you then.